Okay, we are live, ready to rock and roll. Let's get a few things set up here so we have everybody that I need to watch. We StreamYard is working for now. Hopefully comments will come through. StreamYard bot is running. Okay. Cool. Let's minimize you. We'll do Facebook as well. We got to set up. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. What kind of vegetable is only kind of cool? I have no idea. All right, let's try and get TikTok running because apparently it's not wanting to work.
It's so
okay,
easy
there
to
we
keep
go. Go to Creator Tools. They changed stuff around yet again. Fantastic. I love you. There we go. All right. So now that we're all set up on that, I forgot to grab my kniff. Let's grab that. So we have that. A radish. It's pretty red. Okay, hopefully audio's okay. Yeah, hopefully all that stuff is okay. So. I just hope I don't lose my voice. I haven't been 100% this past couple days. So, all right. Now we're on there. I'll put you guys over here. If it'll let me. Come on. Oh, God. Okay, we're not. I can confirm audio on both YouTube and Twitch. Awesome. We are on the TikToks as well, so if you guys want to join there, you're more than welcome to. Let's get this all set up here. Okay. We'll let some people come in for a little bit, and then we'll get this show on the road. My throat is kind of on fire right now because I pounded down a tomato soup from Panera, which I used to never like tomato soup, and now I just think some of them are delicious. Like straight tomato soup, I'm more of a bisque. Like, got to be a creamier tomato soup. Welcome, welcome. Cool printers once again. Thank you very much. All right, slam down Coke. All right. Got my snacky poos. And let's see, can we do this? Okay, so I got 5 people in here. This is probably a bad night to pick a stream, but really my only my only free time, and I really needed to get this up and ready. So, what did you think of that T3? Well, if you guys want my thoughts on the T3, go and check out the YouTube video that I believe I had it set for today, so it should be out. So, cool, an unboxing. Yes, the unboxing of the Elegoo Saturn 2. So, we're going to get it started here in about 6 minutes or so. We'll start unboxing it at it's 8:38 my time right now, so we can start unboxing it around 8:45. You know, kind of chill and chat for a little bit, and just see what's going on. I'm gonna try and finish my little piece of bread here that I had with my little soup. And then with the little poppers. Do we have some poppers up here? Come on. No? All right. Well, that's fine. All right. All right. Both y'all, get down. March down. What's up, Prince by Rev? How's it going? What's up, Seahand? Watch out, girls. I don't want to roll over your feet. So yeah, how's everybody's Friday night going? Mine has been a fantastic day, let me tell you. So, they don't know what you want. You had food. You got water. You need some loving. I gave you some loving. My little popper dog. Liam Pants, what's up? Oh, I finally got my notification for Twitch. Resin Mini. So curious what features the Elegoo Saturn 2 AK has that the Frozen Sonic Mighty may or may not have. So I'm very interested as well, because the only reason why this printer has 8K capabilities as quickly as the Frozen printers do is the fact that Frozen moves their production from Taiwan to China for the mighty 8K. And it's not, it has nothing to do with, you know, saving costs or anything like that. I mean, it kind of does, but there's a whole situation going on between China and Taiwan. If you guys do or do not know about it, I don't want to try and get political, but it's been a situation for a long time, and it's just kind of escalated, and it's kind of at its peak. So essentially, China is holding Taiwan, I guess, kind of hostage in the way that their industrial capabilities are very limited. So now they have to move everything to China. And what happens when something that nobody else has that comes to China, it just gets multiplied. And that's exactly what happened. The mighty 8K, all of the screens and everything that are pretty much like Frozen designs, ended up becoming kind of open source, I guess. So, I mean, that's the whole reason why, you know, before it used to take Elegoo a year to match up what Frozen used to do. And now it pretty much, they're right on par with them. So it is what it is. But what's up, Wandering Wastelander? How's it going? Thank you for the black cats. Thank you for the gifts. Too kind, too kind. I wonder if this is even working on my personal Facebook page anymore. I don't see anybody comments anymore. It's very strange. No comments yet. Comments from the audience will show here. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we'll kind of do a side-by-side comparison of them. I'm sure when I do my review, I will probably talk about the Mighty 8K and vice versa with the Mighty 8K when I do the review of that. Which the Mighty 8K, that'll probably be next to do a review. Actually, I'm sorry, it'll be it'll probably be a week or two before you guys see that review because we have the Creality Hellet light that I'm kind of needing to do. So I'm in Clovis, the news group. Okay. Echo, how's it going? Crystalie, how's it going? Thank you, thank you. I think my bestie just ordered one of these, really. So, if you guys do or do not know, I've been kind of on the fence with Elegoo. My history with Elegoo has been kind of rocky road. What got me into 3D printing is Elegoo and their Mars. I went to a buddy's house and he had two of them, and it was the first time I saw a resin printer. Like I seen them kind of starting gaining traction, and I was kind of interested in it because from what it looked like, the reason why I got into 3D printing is I was thinking, oh, I can make like molded plastic, like stuff that looked like this, like where it had no layer lines and everything. And then I started 3D printing, and I'm like, no, this is terrible. Well, that's FDM. So I saw the Elegoo Mars in action, and I was blown away. First off, it was double the speed, and that was before we even started doing speed settings. Um, and it just the quality was just amazing. Like I just could not believe it. And he made me some parts. I instantly fell in love with it. I went out and I bought an Elegoo Mars. It was so. It had an issue where they apparently started changing parts on it to save some money and messed up the whole machine. Was basically printing like a millimeter off. My buddy John had the same issue with his. His was printing like a millimeter and a half off, or 1.2 millimeters, something extraneous. Um, so I ended up tearing down the whole machine, and with the advice of Matthew Barrett, who at the time was one of the main admins of the Elegoo group, he kind of knew the machine in and out. So with his advice, I tore down the whole machine, added some washers, and it kind of helped it out, but it still wasn't right. It was like 0.4 millimeter off when it was printing the Z height. So, so I ended up getting rid of that machine. I bought 7 Elegoo Saturns, and I used them all for a little bit. And it was just like one would go down, then about a couple days later, another went down, and it was a chain effect. And one of them in particular was just a disaster. I literally replaced everything on the printer. It was horrible. It's the worst experience I ever had with a resin 3D printer, and I've had quite a lot of them. I mean, even at that time, I had about 30 printers that had come and gone, resin printers specifically that have come and gone in the shop here essentially, and it was all of those combined. I had more issues with just that one Saturn than I did all of the printers combined that I've had. So I just got rid of them, and I haven't had an Elegoo product since. So now Elegoo sent us this one, which I'm flabbergasted that they even want to work with me. But we'll see how it goes. So anyway, let's check chat, and then we'll get to the unboxing here. Let's see. He's in Australia, got the wash and cure station too. Gotcha. I'm up in the air between getting resin for microbus models and large format to print radio. Both are great. It just all depends on the type of resin that you're using. Hey, I have a resin sitting in my vat for over a year. How bad do you think it would be if I used it? I'll be honest. I watched somebody use a resin that was sitting in a vat for, I think it was 2 years, maybe a year and a half, close to 2 years. And he stirred it up, hit a print, and it printed. Now, granted, this is the Anycubic Photon, the original one, and those things are they're beast modes. They're fantastic printers, but nowadays they're really, really small. So they're kind of pointless nowadays, at least for me. That's why you guys don't really see smaller printers here. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll have a problem. Just make sure you're constantly mixing it. And if anything, just remove that resin, get some new resin, and then just slowly add a little bit of that old resin into the new resin, and it'll mix perfectly well. So I don't see this video live on your personal page. Okay, so I'm not losing my mind. I think something is disconnected with StreamYards and my personal Facebook page. So I don't know. It is an Anycubic monophoton. Okay, so it's kind of a newer one. Yeah, that should be all right. All right, guys, let's get to this. Watch out, puppers. Watch out. Move, 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 move. All right, so I might actually have to. I'm sorry for the loud noises if this does happen. I'm gonna try my best not to peak the volume here. Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. I'm gonna try and get a closer shot for you guys. Let's see if we could get the Logitech on there. Ooh, that's a little too close. So we'll let it be for the right now, and then and back this out a little bit. So without further ado, let's get to it. Ugh. So this is kind of extra long. As you can see, they added on another package to it. I'm guessing this is some resin. They didn't tell me that they were sending any resin. They just said that they were going to send a printer. So we'll see. We might actually have to cut this piece off first. Really, guys, this is a joke, right? Well, I will give them that. They didn't send me water washable, which, if anybody knows me, I absolutely hate water washable resin. It is the most toxic resin and the most brittlest resin out there. So they did send me plant-based resin, which is kind of cool because I've had a lot of people ask me about plant-based resin, and so far I've only used Elegoo. So we'll see if this is even, or not Elegoo. I've used eSun plant-based resin. So we'll see how it is. But yeah, that's all that was in there. So I mean, that's cool that they at least sent that. Kudos. All right, let's try. I really need to get like a better setup down here, better desk, whatever you want to call it. Again, safety first, knife safety. Make sure that you are cutting away from yourself if you are using a knife. Never ever try to cut towards yourself. I'm sorry for the guys in TikTok land. Kind of ignore you for a little bit. All right, so we have some nice boxing. It is very, very nicely packed, and yes, as you can see, that is slightly damaged. So I hope it didn't do any damage to the machine, but as I can tell, this pretty much took the brunt of the damage here. You can see right there that damaged part. So that's kind of nice that they extra package it, because I know that's always a big issue with a lot of these machines, is they don't really pack them too well. So we have a little tiny box here. This is our power line. Basically, it's a US power cord, which we're not going to utilize because I already have one ran for intensive purposes like this. And that's pretty much the printer right there, all in its glory. So we have our Saturn 2 3D printer starting guide. This is probably the leveling paper, which I've heard horror stories about this. Apparently, Elegoo says to ditch this and use an A4 paper that is folded in half. But apparently it's the same size, but I guess when it compresses, it's not. So I don't know. I just work here. What do I know? All right. So now we're going to try and get this out of its box without destroying anything. And me not killing anything either. Viola. Oh, sorry, voila. I know I'm not the only person that, you know, sees it for what it actually is. All right, let's catch up on chat really quick here. Excuse me. Hi everyone. Let us know what you think of the natural resin. Well, this is just plant-based resin. Again, I've used this type of resin before, but it's usually eSun. I guess I got rid of that bottle, but yeah, I usually have it for those who are in the YouTube land and whatever. There's a whole shelf right above here that has a ton of resin on it, so we'll just add this to the resin collection / inventory. And let me check on chat here. Good evening. Good evening. They got packaging tips from Amazon. You need a good table for these. Absolutely. I'd like to actually get a better setup because I am super amateur. The printed paper runs the risk of scratching the screen because the inkjet last time I heard. Oh, what are we opening? We are opening the Elegoo Saturn 2. Watch out, huh? I'm going to run you down. I don't know why must be like raining out or something because the dog is like insanely needy. But they tied this on the bottom. Now, come on now. Like, I get it. Like a blind leading the blind. Oh my God, I actually got that. I am astonished. I am amazed. It is I, your Resin 3D printing guy. So apparently the guys in the Elegoo community don't really like me too well because I put up a video stating that I was going to do this unboxing, and they gave me a lot of flack for it. And they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Does that really matter?" And then everybody's like, "Well, Uncle Jesse already reviewed this." I'm aware Uncle Jesse already reviewed that. He's reviewed several machines I've had, and some machines I've reviewed more before him. What? So I can say, "Oh, I've reviewed this machine before Uncle Jesse." No, I don't care. I know Uncle Jesse. I talk to him all the time. Cool dude. Like as if I care. Not going to trigger. Just funny. All right. So we have our famous Little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking good. You're in. All right, I'll stop singing. I know I'm probably killing you guys' ears. So packaging, very, very nice. I will say the best thing about Elegoo is they have the nicest packaging. Like everything's all set and ready to go. Like it's so beautiful. Okay, now this seems very heavy, so there's probably a build plate. Wow, they've upgraded a lot on this. So on here it says I can read. It says, please press firmly on the build plate when tightening the screws. So one of my biggest issues, concerns, problems, I guess you can call it, with the Elegoo printers is that they still utilize a ball joint system. This is carried over from the Calent printers who manufactures these actual printers for Elegoo. And I just have a big issue with them because they do tend to come unleveled over a period of time, especially with me because I am very manhandly with my build plate when I'm trying to remove prints. So it doesn't really work out all that well most of the time when I'm trying to level this. And I can't tell if this is metal or if this is a plastic. I think it's a plastic cover with metal inside or like something cheap. This is like aluminum, which I guess is all right. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. I'll leave that unboxed or that wrapped up for right now. I want to put some power to it. I think this requires a power cable. Yeah. That's one of the things I wish most resin printers integrated. Some of them do, especially the Creality ones, where they just plug in AC straight directly to it, and the power supply takes care of it, instead of having, you know, a power pack for each and every one. It's not the end of the world because power pack is nice. It does have a longer management cord style, but it's just the fact that, like, I have so many different printers, and maintaining what power pack goes with what is a real pain sometimes, because essentially they're all 12 or 24-volt systems, but they're different ratings, they're different voltage ratings. So if you put the wrong one in the wrong printer, you're gonna have a bad day. So yeah. All right, let's check TikTok for our chat here. Wish I could stick around, but that is calling. No way. No problem, bud. There we go. Ooh, what do you open? Oh, you said that the other day. I forgot. No worries. All good, Bexia. Just got back from my kid's Halloween party. Always good to see these folks pop in. Awesome. Apple of the Resin printers. Yes and no. I don't know. I think that's a tough one. That's really a tough one because they do have a big brand name, and they do have, I'd say, mediocre parts to them, and they do look very, very good. So I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. They just don't have a lot of the bells and whistles that, you know, most Apple products would compared to everything else. So, what would you recommend for someone that would want to get into resin printing? So, talking about that, we actually, I'll get all the details, but essentially, we're going to be doing a giveaway with Elegoo, and they are going to be giving away an Elegoo Mars Pro 2. So if you're looking for a really cheap printer, that is a great one. There's also one that, if you guys are on my TikTok, that's linked in my bio. It's the Anycubic Mono 4K package. It's a wash and cure station, the printer, and a liter of resin. It's about $386 last I checked. They do fluctuate in price from time to time, usually downward. But that's probably the best bang for your buck in terms of a starter kit. So too bad you can't resin print Velcro labels for your power cables. I absolutely can. I can print labels. I don't think anybody's printed Velcro, but I definitely have some resin that will allow me to print Velcro and work and be useful. So I just don't, I haven't seen a file that is Velcro. So, but that doesn't mean that we can't try it. So, let's see. Yeah, has a few suggestions in his bio. Yep. Oh, fun. Totally. I love going live and checking out people. Awesome. That sounds annoying. Phone doesn't misspell words. Okay. Now we're all caught up on chat. Yeah. Hello, Jeff. How's it going? Isaac, how's it going, bud? All right. So now we got to get to our toolkit. Let's see what's in here. So we have a extra insane Allen screw for the build plate here, which I will say that that's nice that they did upgrade the screws on this thing. Like that is insane. Like that's a huge screw and a ginormous Allen key. Good Lord. But I'm hoping that fixes the issue, because before, like the Saturns, they used to come unleveled all the time. So we have our plastic spatula, our cheap blue handled cutters. We have a fairly nice, ooh, this is actually really nice looking. So we have a nice scraper that has an edge on it. These are nice. I have one from Epax that's basically like my go-to one, and has been for a while. So it's been hard to find a replacement for that if that one happens to bite the dust. So we do have a power supply for this. This one is a 24 volts at 5 amps, producing 120 watts. So that's kind of a beefy power supply. But I do like that they did with the slimmer design one. So that's kind of nice. So what's your TikTok page? The same one that you guys are seeing right here, Akuma Mods. And yes, this is some new merch I got from Nozzle Size Studio, which is fantastic. It's kind of weird because it is a hooded shirt, but I really dig it, especially like the pockets. You know, you have the hoodie pockets. I absolutely love this. I've been having my hands in my pockets all day, and like it's just easy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lazy. Typical USB drive that comes with the Elegoo products. I usually end up replacing those no matter what printer it is. Some white gloves. We'll just end up using those really, really quickly. Some extra filters. That's nice to always have. I usually have a reusable one that's made by Solvol. It has different grates in it. So you can use either one. Some masks if you guys really want to use it, but I'll be honest, these probably don't really work for what you're using for resin printing. But you know, if you think it'll work a little bit better, then so be it. You can wear it. Now, this is the thing that a lot of people don't do, and I'm actually going to check the directions to see if it says this or not. So it does actually say it. So there are directions with this purifier. So what's nice about this printer is it actually has an active carbon filtration system built right in it. Now, I've had these little things before. They're somewhere around in the shop here, but they are battery powered. They're not plug-in. That's what's nice about this thing is it's a plug-in unit that plugs in via USB, and looks like they did upgrade the USB design on this, so it actually is not destroyed. That was a big issue that I saw with a lot of people. They got these and they were smashed in and whatnot. So they had to fix them really quick. It wasn't a huge deal, but anyway. So one of the things I wanted to read to you guys is the little operation guide that it says that I'm pretty sure nobody ever reads. And I'll show TikTok here and you guys over here. And essentially it says, A, open the cover on the top and take out the activated carbon. This is a step that everybody literally forgets about. So when you take it apart, you have two little pieces here. Well, you have a small piece and then you have a long piece. And oh my God, this is the actual active carbon filtration system. And people forget to take this out. Then you slide it back in and then you put it back together. Now it is a active carbon filtration system. So what a lot of people forget to do is take that plastic off and think that they're running their printers with active filtration, and it's not really filtering anything because it's still in a plastic bag. And this goes beyond just like the Elegoo. It happens with any cubic, and it even happens with anything that has active carbon filtering in it. Even like the stand-up units, I've seen people do that where there was a funny thing going around on TikTok where people were like, hey, did you know that your filter is wrapped in plastic? And then they run to their filter and they're like, no way, I've had this thing for like three months, or I've had this for 6 months, I've had this for 2 years. And they go and open it and it's still in a plastic and they're like, oh my God, life-changing. Like TikTok teaches me everything. Well, most of the time it is included in the instructions. And that was one of the things I was concerned if they did not include that in the instructions, but they do. So, hey man, I love your work and all the support you do for us. Well, thank you very much, Mike. That is fantastic to hear. And yes, I am always here to help out people, whether it be resin printing or even FDM printing. Even though I'm probably more versed in resin, I still know a little bit here and there on FDM printing. I mean, that is where I started. So, all right, let's check chat really quick. I need to get with Michael when I'm ready to have some design. Absolutely. So if it has carbon, would it be safe to run indoors like a living room? Absolutely. It should be okay. However, that's also going to be determined on the type of resin that you use. So there are some resins like this. This is Monocuure 3D's Flex 100. It is a insanely flexible material. Like it's a rubber band. So when you print with it, if you guys have ever used super glue and used it right in your face and it literally feels like you're somebody scratching your eyeballs out, like cutting onions on the 100th level. Yeah, that's what that stuff feels like when it's printing. It is the worst. And even with two of my filtration systems working, it even goes through that. So I mean, it is some potent stuff, but it's not really meant to be printed by itself. It's meant to be as an additive. So you still have to be kind of cognizant of what you're utilizing. Again, if you want some good resin that's low odor, I do highly suggest like a bio resin or a PLA resin. Those are usually pretty low odors. We're going to see how Elegoo's is. We might as well use it for the machine and see how it is. I personally have used the Inland brand or the eSun brand of the plant-based resins, and I've been using those for what, 4 years now, and they've been fantastic. I absolutely love the way that they print. They have almost no smell. I mean, literally, I can have a printer right here in my face and probably another one, and I wouldn't even notice that they were printing right next to me, and turn off all my filtration systems. So, yeah, they're pretty good. So. Can you show us your filtration system? I can try, but it's kind of hidden behind the rack here. It's essentially looks like a tower fan, and it has a HEPA, which HEPA doesn't really do anything for resin fumes. It's just kind of an additive. It's more or less the active carbon filtration. That's what you're looking for. And that has just like a giant unit that you replace every once in a while. Plus, it also has a UV light, so it kind of kills like germs and things like that. I don't know if that's really true or not, but let it market it as is. But it seems to work very well, and I have that on a low setting for pretty much the entire time. For those who are in TikTok land, that is linked in my bio if you guys are interested. However, they do not have the unit that I have. They have a slightly smaller unit, but it looks like it's just as good. So I don't smell ABS or acetone anymore, so I'm a bad judge. Oh boy. Yes, I do have a link to my bio. How's that used resin printer you have in it if it wasn't sold yet? Unfortunately, all of the printers that I had up on the Etsy store are gone. Actually, there might be one, and I think that's the Sunlu T3. I don't remember seeing anybody buying that, but I could be wrong. It's been a while. So what's up, Vincent? How's it going? Oh, your Kawaz Creations. Gotcha. Okay. And you have helped me so much on my resin journey, and I got my Elegoo filters and never took the white packaging off the carbon filter for over a week. I'll be honest, I get that all the time. Like I tell people like, hey, you should check your filter, and like I'll just go in a live and I'll tell them that, and they're just mind blown, and I get the same reaction like, no way, dude, no way. No way have I printed with this X amount of time, and I forgot to take the plastic off the filter. But yeah, every single time it's like clockwork. It's hysterical. What's the build size on that Sunlu? The Sunlu T3 is essentially it's an Ender, maybe a slightly smaller. It's 220, 220, 250. But it is a pretty nice printer. Is it as fast as they say it is? With some modification to the profile, you probably get it close to that. But since it's got a stock Creality hot ends, I don't see that happening. Again, I basically stated all that in my review video. If you guys are interested in checking that out afterwards, it is in up on the YouTube channel. So the instructions never said to. That's what I was curious. Apparently, I don't know if that's a recent change or whatnot, but this one actually did say that you should take that out. So uniformation printers are probably going to be my favorite printer of this year, to be honest. They've always been a fantastic company. They've been great printers. Some of you guys may or may not know, I always used to talk about my WeBox 130, which I ended up selling to a fellow TikToker. And as far as I know, he's had a fantastic time printing with it, just as much as I have. But I um, I got the uniformations, and essentially they're made by the same company that used to make the WeBox, and I absolutely love those. And with the Uniformation GK2, it's literally like I have a giant version of my WeBox 130 with newer technology on it, and it is blowing me away every single print. I've had one failure, totally my fault, and since then I have not had any failures on the printer itself, except for another model. Again, my fault because I didn't. It was his hand, and it was stuck like this, and I forgot to support a couple of the fingers. It was just I was doing it real quick on live stream one day, and it just so happened to be that it happened. So, Doggo, yes, my puppers are around here all the time. They have a bed right next to me, so they're always one of them's always sleeping down here. So I need to grab that Mothman pole dancer when I get home. It is hysterical. I love it. I just got the Anycubic Photon M3. I have to use the resin feeder. You do not have to, but it is nice to have. Just like my M3 Max that I have right here, it does have the resin feeder on it, but I don't really use it most of the time. But if I know I'm doing a large print that requires a lot of resin, it is nice to have. However, it is limited to specific style of bottles of resin. So like the Elegoo resin, the Anycubic resin, E-Packs, all the ones that are made by the derivative of Sunlu, all those brown bottle ones, that's what you would use with it. So gonna be slow on new files while my tablet is being fixed. Oh no, that's unfortunate. All right, so let's stop chit chatting here and get this thing rocking and rolling because I want to put at least the build plate on it and try and at least get a print going before I let y'all go. I'll probably be on another live stream after this. If you guys would like to join, I am usually on TikTok late at night. So if you guys are on the TikToks, you guys are more than welcome to join the live stream. You can join talking face to face like this. It is an open invite for anybody. So, all right. So we do have our plug directly in the center, which is not the end of the world. USB drive, though, that goes in the back here. Yes. Okay. So this interface output voltage is 24 volts, only supports the Elegoo kit. The maximum output current is 0.7A. Exceeding the voltage value will damage the control board. So that's kind of good because, you know, there's some people that apparently decided to put like a camera on there, and yeah, they destroyed their camera because it's 24 volts, not 5. So that is nice. It does come with this nice little rubber grip. Unfortunately, it's kind of like useless after you get rid of it, but this plugs directly in here right next to the system, and there you go. Now, I guess you could put this either way. You could have the Elegoo facing out that way. I don't think it'll. No, it wouldn't. It would matter because there's the USB drive only faces one way. So my bad. Anyway, let's raise the Z-axis and get us rocking and rolling. I do like their new interface that they have. I've liked it ever since I saw it on the Jupiter. It looked so much better than their older stuff, and that kind of again shows you that some of the Mighty 8K, which we do have the Mighty 8K right here, some of the stuff that the Mighty 8K you can kind of see is incorporated with the Elegoo Saturn 2 here. So got to put the kiddo to bed. I'll be back, man. Have a great stream. All right, man. You have a good one too. He doesn't sleep, he cures. That's a good one. I got to have that on a t-shirt. That's a good saying. I like that. All right, so we have our system information. Let's see if we can, yeah, We're going to turn off the noise. I think that's off already. So we have our language, our service. Okay, that's all of our Elegoo contacts. Tools. We're going to go and click on that. Tank clean. We're going to raise the Z all the way up. So we're selected on 10 and just going to raise it up a little bit so we could get it to a good height so we could put our build plate back on it. Okay. So it looks like they did pre-lube the Z-axis and the linear rails for us, so that's kind of nice. A lot of companies just let it roll. That's perfectly fine. You don't really have to maintain these machines as much as you do like an FDM machine. I used one for 3 years and never really maintained it at all. So, but then again, that was my Weebox Lite 130, so that could have been a different printer altogether. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the bat, and we're going to take off the screen protector essentially. Please peel off this film before printing. Which, yes, technically you guys can probably keep this on here, but it's really not going to do anything. Then there's also one underneath the vat, and it has a little pull tab. Very, very instructional. So there you go. There's your two protectors. Very, very nice screen. And we're going to put that back in. Actually, I probably should have left that out to level it. So let's reverse that. Reverse, reverse. Everybody clap your hands. All right, put that on a flat surface so we don't have any issues with it. And that way we can get this all leveled. There is a cover on this as well. Nice and shiny build plate. It's so shiny. Now, one of the cool features that I absolutely love about the Elegoo products is they technically have a built-in resin drip. So you guys may have seen me use some resin drip plates before, like either they're mounted here or they're mounted on the actual physical unit, and they basically allow the build plate to drip all the resin off on an angle. What's cool about this Elegoo printers is, okay, this is the normal type of area that the resin printer sits. But let's say you have a print and you need to drip it off. Boom. On the side at a 180. So it's kind of cool that it has that ability. That's one of the things I always liked about these printers. All right. So now, I really like that knob. That knob is beefy. So much better than the originals. I dig it. I'm not a big fan of this plastic, but I understand, you know, cutting costs and whatnot. All right. Is it complicated to level resin printers? So in my experience, you level them once, and that's pretty much it. Very, very straightforward, very simple. It pretty much tells you. All right, let's get back to chat here and just see who's here. I use Elegoo water washable resin. I'm not a big fan of that. It's more of a personal preference out of anything, but it's super brittle. It's the most brittlest of resins, and it also is the most toxic of resins because of what they use to keep it water washable. So the resin god rarely sleeps. Yes, I really do. Ooh, that peel. Yeah, I should get some like ASMR stuff in here. So what's up, Impact? How's it going? Sorry, I've been neglecting chat here. I really do need like a moderator or something, but we'll wing it. Do you like resin printers or FDM? I don't know. Can I answer? No. I really like resin printers a lot more than I do FDM. So, ooh, that's a nice surprise. That is an unexpected nice surprise. That's very interesting. I did not know that. So I'll be honest, I haven't really looked too much into the Saturn II. It was just like, so they sent it to me and that was it. I haven't even looked at like the specifications because I mean, essentially all resin printers are pretty much the same. Just, you know, one has a little bit better thing than the other and it's just kind of all together. But what's cool about this, and you guys can't really see it because of the coloring. I'm going to see if I can try and put it up here, but essentially there's 4 little bolts and a round cutout for ventilation. So for those people who have setups who have ventilation that goes outside and uses hose setups, this is already pre-prepped for you. So that's really cool. I will say, I think only one other printer that I have here has that type of setup, and that's the Uniformation GK2. And that is a far superior printer. But that's an interesting thing to see on a budget style printer. I did not expect to see that type of setup on there, which is really, really cool because you can do some cool stuff with that. Not only can you use it for ventilation, you can also use it for wire management if you're putting like a heater in here or some other things, time-lapse camera, what have you. So Mars Pro 3 for starters. I would say more the Mars Pro 2 for starters. But there is a good kit that is linked in my bio. It is the Anycubic Mono 4K. And that comes with a wash and cure and a liter of resin for about $386. And that's really a great deal, in my opinion. So, all right. I probably should have prepped this, but I don't have a piece of paper, but I usually have, there's my leveling paper. Like, I know I usually keep a ridiculous leveling paper somewhere around here. So we'll use that. That's for the M3. So that'll be more than sufficient enough to level this print. So you asked about leveling printers, and this one's a little bit different, but essentially it'll level the same way. Other printers are usually a little bit better. They have a 4-point leveling system, whereas this one just has 2. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this up on the left side, loosen it up on the other side, and you can see it's all willy-nilly. Now, one of the things that I'm just not a big fan of is the ball joint system. So essentially there's a ball inside of this giant mount here, and there's a screw that goes in this side and a screw that goes in the front. Well, the problem is after a little while, and it doesn't really even take that long, depending on how manhandly you are with the build plate, it can come unlevel very easily because there's only those 2 sections holding it. Maybe if it had 3, it would be a little bit better, but that might be overkill for it. But yeah, that's one of my gripes about this. And then the other thing is this goes all directions. So you can literally spin this 360 degrees if I had this off the build plate. So that's also a bad thing because you can't line it up with the screen. So it's kind of hard to keep it level. It's not the end of the world, but you kind of lose that little bit of build volume if you don't get it right on. So, but either way, we're gonna get this going and get it set up. And we're basically going to go here, and there is should be a set Z. That's one of the ones we're going to use. Okay, so we're going to go to, sorry. So I'll basically walk you through. We're going to hit Tools, we're going to hit Manual, and we're going to hit Home. And what that's going to do is it's going to home the Z. Now, when I say that, that's not the actual home. It only homes when you start printing. It only does the homing process when you do the leveling and when you do the printing. So if you hit home again, it will technically be off of the build plate when you go to level it or go to home it. And you'll be like, what? I just leveled this. And then you go and level it again and again and again. And it's just a vicious cycle. But yeah, it doesn't really need to be done with that. All right. So it said basically firmly push down on the plate. So what I do is, you know, the big old Vulcan sign. There you go. And then we're going to tighten this up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check our paper and see if there's any movement on it. So what I'm doing is I'm taking one hand and putting some pressure on it and basically doing that. And it doesn't have to be like super, super tight, but you want to tighten enough, okay? So now we're going to check our paper. It's actually, that's pretty spot on. Usually I have to like go over here and I'll go 0.10 millimeter and I'll press it down to give a little more compression. But this is good. You basically don't want the paper to move back and forth. You don't want that. You want the paper to be stiff and for you to not pull it out without giving a lot of force on it. And that's pretty much it. So all we have to do is go back and then we're going to set our Z offset. Now it's set and it's ready to go. We're going to go ahead and raise this build plate. And then we can start printing essentially. Now I can probably print the typical rook that everybody does. But that's completely up to you guys. Do you guys want to see that, or do you want to me to actually do a print? Because I can do that. I can show you guys a setup of a print. Actually, I can't really do that because winging it would probably be the worst case. We could at least do an exposure test and see where we are. That's technically the proper way to start printing, in my opinion. But a lot of people don't do that, which is fine. It's just it's a learning experience. Again, it's the same thing with the carbon filter, where a lot of people don't know to do that, and until they see somebody do it, it's just like a light bulb clicks on. Like it's just, you don't even think about it. So if anything, I would probably load up my Frozen XP Finder, which essentially is a test print. You print it flat on the build plate. Takes about 15 minutes or so to print out, and that'll basically give us a baseline of our resin exposure time. So if I set it at 2.5 for the normal exposure and 30 for the bottom exposure, that's usually what I start with on all of these printers. All of these printers use the same setup for all of them. So that's more or less what we'll probably end up doing here. And what that'll allow us to do is it'll actually allow us to tune in this resin. So I know there's some slicers like Lychee that a lot of people love, and they actually have resin profiles for everybody's printer. Like the, you know, if I put my profiles out there, it would be speed profiles, which again, I have some of those linked in my bio, but it's for Shitubox. But the issue that I have with that is not all printers are created equal. So while my printer is brand new, my buddy could have a printer for 3 months. His has seen a little bit more action, so his LEDs might not be as powerful as mine. His screen might not be as good. His resin might be a different batch, you know, because no two resins are alike. Even if they're in the same batch, one could be at the beginning of the batch, one could be at the end. And those resins can be vastly different in terms of print time, but they can still print. But then you see people like, well, I just printed this model and now it's failing. Well, that's probably because something happened with the resin and the exposure is not tweaked properly. So that's why, as much as it's a little bit overkill, I always say to tune every single bottle of resin. And that's literally what I do. If you watch me on any live stream or anything, anytime that I'm working with resin, I literally tune my bottle of resin every single time that I start a print. It's normal procedure for me. So I think that's what we'll do for here, even though, like I said, we can probably print the test rooks right out of the box and it'll be perfectly fine. Actually, I think it's a single rook now, but let's see what's on the files even with it. So we're gonna go home. Oh, you know what? Let's check our screen and make sure that everything's good. So we're gonna do an exposure test, and that's gonna pop up the Elegoo technology. Okay, so everything's good. We can see the Elegoo logo. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop that. So that means that the LCD is working the way that it's intended to. So let's see what's in the actual folders of the printer. So we have Elegoo Saturn 2 Rook model for printing, MSLA photo curing 3D printer, slicing software, Saturn 2 parameters. Okay, so there is the Rook file that is on here as well. Saturn 2 Rook model for printing, Rook 2 Saturn STL. So you could also slice it if you want to utilize it. I don't know. If you guys want, I could just set the Rooks to go. I usually don't do that, but if you guys want, I can. So I thrive on chaos. How do you empty out the resin printers? Well, that's a fun thing, I will say. You want me to do Mothman again? But I already printed out Mothman. I mean, I could redo him. I do have the file. I can set it back up and actually print it nice. What color do we got here? Is this clear or this is gray? So yeah, we could do the Mothman. Now the other thing that was always funny to me on these Elegoos is on a lot of these Elegoo bottles, they have the old exposure times for like the non-monochrome LCDs, the RGB. So your times that they would put on here would be like 6 to 8 seconds and 60 seconds for bottom exposure. And I'm like, I haven't used that type of exposure in a long time. Like all these newer printers are about half of that. So it is much better nowadays. But yeah. How much resin do you got to put in them? Well, most resin printers nowadays, they come with a max fill line. And that's what this one does. It does have a max fill line. I would say offhand, let me, excuse me, offhand on a printer this size, we're probably looking at about maybe 400 to 500 milliliters of resin that you can put inside of it without going over the top. But again, you always want to abide by that max fill line because otherwise you might have a bad day. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about doing is right now this is set up on a what I call my test bench essentially, and at some point it'll get moved into the print farm if it works okay. But what I usually end up doing is I take a bubble leveler, like you see, and you're not supposed to use this on any FDM printer, but you can utilize it on a resin printer. And I'll put it on here, and I'll actually level out the printer because what that'll do is it'll actually level the liquid that's inside of the vat. So that way one side is not higher than the other, or the back side is not higher than the front, so on and so forth. So you actually have an even liquid settle. It's not going to be anything detrimental, but when you start getting down to like the low volumes of resin, it definitely does help out because, you know, you may be printing something and you have enough resin in there because there's some people that are out there that do the crazy thing of the exact resin that it says, which I never do. I just pour in resin and let it go. If I need to add more, I'll just add it while it lifts up, and then I'll add it really quick before it goes back down. That's how I usually add resin to it when you don't have a automatic system. But I usually use that and try and fill the resin. So we're going to give this a good shake. Listen to that Pep sing. I know it bounces off my purty voice. So I think we're just going to do the test Rooks and call it a day, yeah? Just because I want to test out this resin and see how it is. And see if it's as good as like the eSun stuff that I've used. So I don't have any experience with it, but that doesn't mean that I can't help with the Elegoo Mars 2 or 3. I think the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro is a little bit better than the Mars 3, even though the Mars 3 is a better printer resolution wise. But it seems like the Mars Pro 2 is like the best Elegoo printer out there, in my opinion. It is by far like the least amount of issues I see. People absolutely love them. They just print. Like no matter what version it is, they always have they're always printing. So you can level an FDM. Yes, you can level it, but leveling it with a bubble level doesn't really work all that well. It's not really meant to do that. So, all right. So we're going to load in some resin. So we have 1,000 grams of resin here, and we're going to fill this up a good amount. This actually takes a good amount of resin. So if you guys can or cannot see, we're actually sloped. So a lot of the resin is settling on the right-hand side here. So I'm gonna cap this back up, and it actually used probably about 600 milliliters of resin in that vat. So that's a good amount. That's a good chunk. Do them resin bottles have an expiration date? Yes, resin bottles do have an expiration date of about a year. However, I do have some expired resin that's above me, and I've used it perfectly fine. The only thing is you have to constantly mix it. So if you do have a bottle of resin that is expired and you are constantly resin printing, I always suggest having having that as like an additive. So like using a brand new bottle of resin and then adding in a little bit of whatchamacallit, a little bit of the old resin into it. So I bought a Neptune 3 from them, and then so far it's easy to operate. I've heard they were pretty good. I'll have to check out the Mars 2. I want to give resin a try. So like I said, we are going to be doing a giveaway with Elegoo as well for a Mars Pro 2. It will be on my group, the 3D Printing for Noobs group on Facebook. So if you guys aren't a part of that, unfortunately, you can't really be a part of it. But you can join. Just be aware that the entry questions are a little hard for some people, and that's just to keep all of the spam out, essentially. So I just wanted to let you guys know that ahead of time before you went in there and you're like, what are these questions? Well, there's reasons why they're like that. It's trying to keep as much spam as possible out of, keep the riffraff out. So I really like the colors of this. I'm not biased at all or anything like that. Black and red. But yeah, I really like their colors, and oh man, that just seems more red than what I was used to. Gloves, yes, just this. I know some people will get at me about that. It's not the end of the world. I've handled resin quite enough times to where I don't get it over me. Usually when I'm working with this, I do have an apron that I put on here just because I don't want to get it all over my clothes. But that's usually when we're working with prints. So if I am taking a print off, okay, I'll definitely be working with gloves. But usually I'm pretty good with handling resin by itself. So I hope that we can level this, because otherwise we're going to have a bad day. Oh no, did these feet not level? Oh no. Well, that's no bueno. So that's one downside of this printer, is you can't level it. You have to shim it, which is not the end of the world, because they do provide you with these really crappy cutters, and you could just use the cardboard to shim it. So just do that. Yeah, at this point in time, I mean, resin literally runs in my veins, so I don't think that's going to be a major issue. But all right, whew, that was like perfect pour. Wow. All right, let's see here. What's your group's name again? So it is linked in the bio for those who are on TikTok, but for those who are searching, it's on Facebook. It's called 3D Printing for Noobs. And then it'll have, I forget what it's called, but the quotations that says beginners on it. We have 80,000 members on there. So if you guys want to join, there's plenty of people there to help out. I'm always around. It's a pretty friendly group. We try and keep it pretty tightly. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll release all the details later on tonight of the giveaway. Time for some paper shems. Yep. 3D printing for noobs. Yep. Thank you. Folds of paper it is. Yep. To think when I first started watching you had dozens of FDM printers, even in boxes still. Now it's resin printers all over. Yeah. And I still have some FDM printers in boxes. That is all printers. There's a Prusa MK3 there that's been sitting for probably 8 months. I'm sure Prusa's real happy about that. We have an Arion, we have an Artillery, we have a Lotmax, and I have some custom printers in the back even. Like, I got printers everywhere. It's insane. I remember when you had all those ANET printers. Oh, yeah, all the ones stacked in the back behind here. Yeah, because before this used to be over here against the wall. And that's essentially what I wanted, is I wanted an open environment and then have a camera set up on that side. But then the wife got mad because I took over too much of the basement. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Well, we'll give back a little bit and I'll just make my own little corner. So do you keep them, send them back, or donate them? So we kind of do a mix of all of that. So there are some printers, I will say I don't get all printers free. It really depends on the contract. Sometimes I pay shipping for it. Sometimes I pay, 30% of the printer, or 80% of the printer. And then once I do the review, I'll get 30% back, that type of thing. So it varies depending on manufacturers. But sometimes we do send them back. It's very, very rare, but there are a couple times. Like, there's the Nova Whale 2, that one. That is a signed contract to send that back to the manufacturer once we are done with the review. So that'll go back to the manufacturer. I have donated printers here and there. You guys know Phantom Works on TikTok. The 10-log D3 was given to me free and clear, so I basically donated that to him. Again, it's not like, oh, well, you get a printer, you get a printer, you get a printer type thing. It's kind of at random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like anybody constantly hounding me, hey, can I get a printer? Can I get a printer? That type of thing. I will tell you that probably won't get you a printer, and especially if you hound anybody like that. But it's just kind of like, I see an opportunity. I think somebody might utilize it a little bit better than, sending it back or selling it to somebody, and I'll get rid of it. But normally, if I do get a printer free and clear, most of the time I sell it for a discounted price, and then I work it out with the manufacturer on what they want to do with that, and say, hey, this is the price I want to set it at. Do you guys want this money back? And usually I'll include shipping in it. So I'll say, all right, if a printer is going to cost me $50 to ship, and I sell it for $160, I say, all right, well, it's going to cost me $50 to ship it. I want to take $10 just for my time, and you guys can have the 100. Is that okay with you? That's another thing that I do. So I kind of work out deals all the time with people and doing things like that. So there's no specific thing that I do consistently. It all depends on the manufacturer on what they want to do. But even if I end up keeping something and then I end up selling it and I keep all the profits, it usually goes to either buying another printer or buying stuff for people in the community. So it's usually something that I don't usually keep, because I'll be completely honest, I work a normal 9 to 5 as a manager at a freight forwarding company. It pays the bills and then some. So I don't really need to keep any of this stuff or make any money on it. If I do make any money doing resin printing, I just consider it an addition to adding into my taco fund that basically pays for my taco addiction. So next, he will have a Weebox sweetened food grade coffee latte art printer. No, but I almost got one of those. However, I do have the Weebox sweetened chocolate printer. And then I also have the Lucky Bot extruder. So I actually have a true chocolate printer here, and I've had it for a couple of years. I bought it for the wife. It was like $2,500 when I bought it. Nobody has ever heard about it. Nobody's ever really seen it. It's probably been out of commission for about a year and a half now, but we'll probably get it back up and running. I just need to buy some more filler tubes for it to get it running again. But we'll do some more streams of that. How well does that air purifier work on the resin printers? It should work very well as long as you keep the lid on it. So Matt wants to give me a printer. I'm sure of it. Seriously, though, that's annoying. Hey, some people do it, and I get it. If you really want some free stuff, it happens. Those are 100% valid reasons for anything. Or tacos are 100% value. Yeah, absolutely. I eat more tacos than anything else. Like, if you gave me a choice to give up like tacos or $1 million lifestyle, I'd probably have to give up the $1 million lifestyle because tacos are they're delicious. Like even the bad ones, they still bring a smile to your face. Even though you are a little bit disappointed, they're still great. So, what's up, Star? How's it going? Yeah, sorry, we're not going to have anybody joining in on this chat. This is a live stream unboxing, so this is just kind of me, myself, and Irene type thing. I'm trying to find. I guess we could use these. I need to open up something. I need to open up my Mexican Coke again because I had tacos this afternoon. I have an extra Mexican Coke, so hey. These aren't entirely useless. They opened up my bottle of Coke. Do I have any filter suggestions that don't go inside the printer? So I utilize a tower fan setup. If you're on my TikTok, it is linked in my bio to an Amazon where you guys can purchase it. It's a newer version of mine, so it's a little bit smaller, but essentially it's the same type of air filtration system. So it's been fantastic so far. I usually keep it on a low setting unless I'm running, more than 5 resin printers at a time, but it's been working pretty well. So, all right, cheers. All good? All right, cool. Speaking of Mexican Cokes, yes. Recommended printer for kids 8 to 15 years old. So my son is 11 years old, and he stole one of the printers that I was supposed to review. It is called a Weedo Tina 2. It's literally a box style printer. It has auto leveling, and for $120, I mean, you can't really beat it. It's not anything spectacular. The build volume on it is like 100 millimeters squared, so it is very, very small. And you are limited to PLA only. But he has a blast printing with that. Like, he got into Tinkercad a little bit. I showed him some things here and there, and he just took off running with it. He's had a fantastic time. Excuse me. So, I do highly suggest that printer. But really, like, if you want to get him an Ender 3, that's a good one. It does require a little bit more understanding of printers and stuff like that. So, just know that you're going to have some issues here and there. But the community behind it is ginormous. It's unbeatable. So yeah. It is a Weedo, Weedo. That's Western Edward David October space Timothy Indigo Nathan Apple 2, the number 2. There is 2 versions of it. There's a $120 version, which that's the one you want to get. And then there's about $180 Wi-Fi version. Don't get that. The Wi-Fi just does not work well. It's a pile of garbage. It's useless. It needs a lot of work done to it, and they just don't. But it is great. Yes, Weedo Tina 2. Look it up on Amazon. It's about $120, $130. I think last we looked on it on a live stream, it was $134. So anyway, I'm going to set this Rook up and get it printing. Boom. So I will say that this is insanely quiet. That's really, really nice. But I mean, that comes kind of with the territory of all these newer printers. By the way, if you guys are on the Tiki Talks, or if you guys see my link in bio, we do have our merch available through Nozzle Size Studios. They do have some other cool merch from other fellow TikTokers on there as well. So if you guys want to browse and see some funny, I guess, meme style 3D printing related stuff, then that's what you want to do. So we'll see how this prints. I think I found it, Germ Guardian 4-in-1. Absolutely, that's it. That's it. 100%. Like I said, they do have a newer version, so it's slightly different than mine. Mine is a little bit more archaic, but it is larger than that. Not much larger. Mine's like a 3.5 foot tall, and I think those ones are like 3 feet tall. But the newer ones have the A word connected to it, or the G word connected to it. So you can have you can just basically tell your thing like, hey, A word, can you do this? You know, that sounds really weird saying that, but I don't want to trigger anybody's stuff offline there. So $150 on Amazon. So they went up. That's not quite the phonetic alphabet I remember, but it works. A-E-I-O-U. Yeah, I don't know the phonetic alphabet. So I'm terrible with that. I literally have to sit there and think sometimes, like, what can I connect with this that doesn't sound like the other thing? And then I end up saying something that sounds like the other thing, and I'm like, I'm dumb. So, all right, so that's pretty much it. We're gonna put this on here and make it look all snazzy. As my dog ran across it, and now there's hair all over it. So one thing for the resin people, this stuff, static guard, plastic. It's very, very staticky when you get it out of the box. Especially on the inside of the printer, I see a lot of problems where people have prints rise up and then they're like, there's resin all on the inside. Why does it keep splashing? Well, it's not splashing. It's actually the static bringing it to the actual hood, and that's an issue. Like, I have a big issue with static here in my basement, probably because I don't have any carpet or anything, and it just, I don't know. I would think that would be opposite, but evidently not. So, but yeah. Borrowed with undetermined return date. Yep. The doggo hair is just like CF strands. They infuse the print. Yeah, pretty much. I've definitely had several that have prints with dog hair in it for sure. So, and I usually just sand it away, and it's fine, and nobody's gonna see it anyway. Most of the time, those prints are gonna be painted by the user anyway. But you know, if we need to, we can always use the vacuum cleaner, or we can use the air duster, which is a 2-in-1. And what's even cooler about this is you can disconnect the two, and you have your own little battery pack as well. Like, I just learned about this the other day, and I was like, how did I not know this? This is literally like a 25,000, or I'm sorry, 15,000 milliamp battery pack that you can plug in a USB port into, and it's quick charging. It's the red port, so it's QI fast charging, and it does recharge via USB-C, so that's really cool. So, but yeah, you just click it and it locks into place, and then, sorry for the loud noises. You're done. And yes, that is linked in my bio as well. I'm like a salesman here. Matt didn't read the instructions. Nope, I totally did not. Is that also? Yes, it's literally linked in my bio. So I try not to do the whole link in bio thing because I literally sound like a salesperson every time I do it. And it's more or less, it becomes like a funny haha thing because Ben, it's Boy in Space on TikTok, he does that all the time. So it's just kind of like the inside joke that we do. And then it turned into not a joke because I started doing it because, you know, you do make some money off of it. And, you know, it's kind of nice because a lot of people do ask you, like, hey, what are these tools that you use? And you could be like, oh, here's a link to it. And you just automatically put it in your link tree and it's good to go. So it is kind of nice to have that. I really should add that on my YouTube and my Twitch and everything just to get it going, which apparently I don't see anybody from Twitch here. So I wonder if Twitch is not funneling in again. So it seems like StreamYards is having some major issues with connections because my main Facebook page and Twitch, I don't see any feeds from. We don't mind, pitch away. But I think that's pretty much it. Wow, we're right on time at 10 o'clock here. So we've been live streaming for an hour and a half. That's not bad. Usually live streams last about 2 hours here. But I mean, there's really nothing else I can tell you guys about the printer. I mean, we'll just have to see how it prints. I've heard some good and bad things about the printer, specifically with the leveling issue. So we'll have to see how that worked out on my terms. But everything looks okay. I don't see any issues with it. Nothing majorly wrong with it out of the box. It is a very nice looking machine. It is very new age looking. So a lot of people like that design. It's very fancy. Again, somebody kind of hit the nail right on the head with kind of like the Apple of resin printers, really. Whereas you have Samsung. Samsung is our Anycubic. That's literally what it is, because like Samsung will one up a little bit, but then it's just kind of an okay product, but they do have some cool stuff. So it's just kind of strange. Oh, Twitch is streaming. Okay. It is streaming. I had to check. All right, cool. Well, I guess just nobody was on there, which, hey, that's rightfully so. There's probably a ton of other bigger content creators streaming. I think I saw Loyal Moses streaming earlier, so maybe we'll get him here on TikTok one of these days. I know he hit 1,000 followers, so maybe we'll see him in a stream. I know some people would love that. So, yeah, hey, I'm not nobody. No, but I'm just saying, like, usually there's not a lot of people there, so sorry, I tend to rub people the wrong way with the way that I say things a lot, and I can't even really apologize because it's just that's how I am. That's how I've always been. But hey, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. Anyway, yeah, kidding. I know, but I don't know. I always feel like I have to explain why. It's I don't really want to blame the whole autism thing, but that might be a part of it. I don't know. Could just be my weird upbringing, because my family's always had a twisted sense of humor. So, and we just usually don't care. I'm also a sarcastic brat, so we work out well. All right, cool. All right. Can't please everyone. You can't, but I try to, and that's probably one of my biggest downfalls is I try to people please too much. So, yeah, exactly. If people don't like my personality, they can scroll on, and people have, but I still feel that like that hits. Like I don't want to see that. I try to get on everybody's level if I possibly can, but there are a handful of people I know don't like me, and it is what it is. I'll try and grab you back in, but it is that's how it is. So, other than that, we're gonna let this print. It says that it's gonna take about 3 hours and 16 minutes. Good lord, that's a lot of time. We're gonna have to work on some speed profile for this thing. That's too slow. How many layers is that? 1,000 layers for 3 hours? No, that ain't cutting it. We're gonna jack up the settings on this thing, and we're we're gonna put out a speed profile for this sometime later this week for sure. I'm gonna just jack it up and see if I can break this printer. That's usually what I do. I did that with the M3 Max. I broke the screen. Had about 50 hours of printing into it, and then I started tweaking speed settings at about 30 hours in, and yeah, I didn't like that very much, but I tweaked them enough to where I got it, and then I broke it on the last set, and then I was like, all right, cool. I got them at least dialed in, so we're good to go. All right. He's talking of the stock this Twitch. Oh, that's you. Oh, I didn't even notice. It's what I get for not looking at names. You have never rubbed me the wrong way. You're absolutely wonderful, wonderful. Matt is badass. I don't know. Speed, I do love me some fast printing. Do you have a speed profile for the Frozen Transform Fast? I do not, but that doesn't mean that we can't work on one for you. I have worked on ones outside. If you're willing to test it, just know that I'm not responsible for any broken things. I'm just saying that right now. I put that on all my speed profiles, especially the one for the Mega that I did, because I have the Transforms newer, younger brother, the Mega 8K. So I did a speed setting for that, and I literally cut the print time down in half. So stock settings, which they print beautifully, don't get me wrong. If you want an amazing print, stick with the stock settings. But the speed settings will produce just as good quality prints, or close to it, in my opinion. Good enough, I would say. And I took the speed settings and put it on that printer, and I cut the speed time or the print time in half. So a full build volume at 400 millimeters is about 34 hours. So, hey, what's a good large format printer you would recommend? Well, I mean, I can try and recommend the Saturn, but I haven't really used it too much. So right now I can't really recommend it. But if you got the money, the Anycubic M3 Max. That is a fantastic, huge printer for the price point. And Anycubic is a known brand. They've been around the longest in the industry for resin printing. And I think Frozen is probably second, if not maybe first. I don't know how long they've been around, but they've been around for just as long as Anycubic that I'm aware of. And then Elegoo came around shortly after that, maybe like 6 to 8 months after Anycubic dropped their resin printer. But yeah, those are great printers. In my opinion, if you have the money to spend and you don't want a super large printer like the M3 Max, you want something a little bit smaller, something that doesn't hit your pocket as hard, the Uniformation GK2, you have to buy it directly from their website, but that is probably going to be my favorite printer out of all these come this next year. So it's going to be a very hard printer to beat. It just checks all my boxes. So the problem is, how large are you talking about? Exactly. So when you go large with resin printing, you get expensive, because you can go super large and get a Frozen Sonic Mega 8K, but that's going to cost you about $3,000 to get that printer to your door anywhere in the world. And it's expensive to use. It's expensive to replace parts. So yeah, it basically, you just have to roll the dice with that one, because that's really, really expensive. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to leave you at that. I think I've talked your guys' ears off enough. You guys have seen the unboxing. It's pretty straightforward, pretty standard for your resin printing. Again, we are going to be partnering with Elegoo to do a giveaway for the Elegoo Mars Pro 2. I believe the end of the giveaway is going to be going into November 15th. I'll have to double check on that, but I think that's what we agreed on. I just have to see. And I will post it up on the 3D Printing for Noobs group on my Facebook page. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll leave you at that. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, you guys know where to reach me. I'm always around, especially all in TikTok land. Linked in bio is literally all my social media is there. Should probably have that link tree link down here in YouTube land as well. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I'm probably going to end this live stream and then just hop on a normal chit chat live stream on TikTok. So if you guys want to join there, go and check out Akuma Mods on TikTok, and you guys can see me there, and it'll probably say live where my pretty little, actually it's not my pretty little face, it's my logo is, and you click on it and it'll probably take you directly to the live, and we can chit chat either in chat or you can chit chat face to face. You can join the chat if you want to. Again, it is open to anybody that's that wants to chat, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I just spent $650 for a Transform LCD. Oof, yeah, that's pretty much about the same for the Mega 8K. It's about $500 or $600 to get it shipped here. Thankfully, Frozen was kind enough to send me one just as a replacement because they knew I was working on speed settings for everybody, and they were nice enough to just kind of say, "All right, we're going to send you one free of charge." And I was like, "Thank you," because that's a huge hit. But it was basically a one and done deal that'll never happen again. So I made sure to get a screen protector for that. So, so yeah, TikTok, what's up? What's up, Crystal? How's it going? All right, guys. For you in YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter lands, I'm going to end the stream now. And again, if you guys like to join me, I will probably be on the TikTok if you guys want to join there. Till next time, guys.